Hi guys. Monday, September, almost done with September, right? I hope you had a great weekend, restful weekend. And as we do every Monday, I'm sending you, I'm recording a video that I'm going to share with you in a little bit. And again, as always, I'm going to cover my feedback concerning what you submitted, and then cover what we have for this week, which is chapters 7 and 8. And of course, remind you what you need to submit by Sunday, next Sunday, following Sunday. All right, so I'm going to start by going to our Moodle site. Let me share my screen. There we go. Excellent. All right. So what you had for today is LO9 and LO10. I have already sent you individual feedback. What I want to say is I would suggest, you did pretty well, very satisfied. I would suggest, I have my notes right here, you go over those reports if they're real, meaning like you included all the foods, plus it wasn't an irregular day, it was like a common kind of day in regards to your diet. I would check a little bit the calories, okay, like the amount, the macros. Are your macros according to the macros we talked about? Remember the percentages? Are you somewhere in there? Because from what I saw, a lot of people, like in the majority of people, the percentage of protein was pretty low, right? And then you can go and see how it breaks down, meaning fiber. Okay, we talked about fiber. And then vitamins. What's going on with vitamins, for example? You will see the percentages of the RDA. And for example, we know which vitamins, right? A, D, E, and K can create a toxic environment if we're taking too much, right? So I will just go and see a little bit where you stand and decide if you need to make some necessary adjustments or not. Okay. The second one, a low 10, was again pretty good. I just want to remind you, do not submit your projects as drafts, and more importantly, use your own words, please. Okay. Again, I have plagiarism software. Everything just comes out right. So I know. I always know. Please, just use your own words. All right. So for this week, we're switching a little bit gear. We're going towards exercise psychology. And that part has 3 chapters. 2 of them are going to be covered today. So theories of behavior chains and adherence to exercise. All right. Different kind of material. We're going to talk about a lot of theories, but you're going to see why this is important and why this is included. Okay. Of course, we'll have a whole chapter, which is the semester, sport and exercise psychology, that we talk about things like that. Okay. Now, what do we have for next week? Hello, 11. Okay. I want you to talk to me about SMART goals. Tell me what the acronym stands for. And then I want a fitness related goal, which you have now or you had in the past, right? And prove to me why that fitness goal is or was SMART. So even if it wasn't, just change it up. Just make me understand you understand what a SMART goal is, right? So S stands for this, and it was SMART because of this, and this. Be specific, for example. Don't tell me I wanted to lose weight. You know I'm going to come back and tell you that's not a SMART goal because that's not specific. You need to be, I want to lose 5 pounds of fat by then. That would be specific, that would be measurable, that would be time bound, right? And then you had to explain to me why it was achievable and why it was realistic. Well, it was achievable because I had hired a sports nutritionist to work with me, and I had done it in the past. Also, it was realistic because, according to ACSM guidelines or whatever you want to say, not only I've done it in the past, but 5 pounds to lose 5 pounds in 3 or 4 or 5 months. It's just make sure I understand. You understand. That's all. All right, and then you have one more, and it has to do with 2 case studies. And let me switch to student so it looks a little bit cleaner. So this is what you can see. So load 12 is about chapter 8. I'm not going to assign it to you. I'll let you assign it to yourselves. Pick one. 8.1 or 8.2, they're in the book. There's some questions for consideration for both case studies. Whatever you pick, don't pick both, just one. Whatever you pick, answer in a very specific way. And that's it. Okay? Now, one more thing before I go and start covering what we have for this week. Synchronous meeting on Wednesday. Week 6, I told you we're going to have synchronous meetings every 3 weeks just to check in, see each other, maybe just talk about some potential questions that you may have. I love feedback, what works, what doesn't work, what can I change right now if I can to make things, create an even better environment, more inclusive, less toxic, so you can learn more. So that's on Wednesday at 11. So I changed a little bit the hour to make it more fair. So I made it a little bit later, same day, Wednesday again, but at 11. The link is right here. Please, it's only for 45 minutes. We don't have to use the whole thing if we don't have to, but it would be great if I can see your face, see mine, and just talk for a second, man. Okay? Excuse me. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing that. And let me see. I'm going to start sharing the very first PowerPoint slideshow. Chapter 7 is the longer chapter for today. All right. Okay. So why do we even talk about things like that, right? Why do we even go to exercise psych? Why do you, a personal trainer, need to know this? Why is this important? Why do we care? So 35% of men and 40% of women have a BMI of 30 and above. What does it mean? We'll talk about that very, very soon. And that's not good at all. So change is necessary. But changing behavior is not easy. And you know that from personal experience. If you ever try to change somebody else, or train somebody else and change them, or even if you're trying to make somebody change their behavior that had nothing to do with exercise, right? Changing is not easy, right? And because it involves, dropping a bad habit, admitting that it was a bad habit, first of all, dropping it, and create something new. And that's not easy. That's not easy for people to do, including ourselves. So people sometimes want to change, but they can't change or they don't change. And it has to do with a lot of factors, right? Are they ready? Are we ready to change? Are we motivated enough to change? Do we have the ability to change? What do we think about ourselves in terms of self-efficacy, which means the ability to be successful at something? What do we think about ourselves? And then what are the factors in that specific situation? As you can see, do you work, are you a nurse? Do you work 12-hour shifts that end up being 20-hour shifts? What do you do? What do you do? Things like that. Or are you around people that have really bad habits, let's say, and they drink alcohol all the time, and that affects you in a negative way? Scientists haven't really figured out all the factors that influence behavior change. And that's not only that, those factors interact with each other. Okay? So it's a very complicated process. So people, yes, people can change their behaviors, but it's not easy at all. And it's not simple at all either. One of the main things for us is weight management interventions. And we're going to talk about what an intervention is in a little bit, but weight management is like the top issue. And if you work in a gym or if you work as a personal trainer by yourself or whatever, you think you'll see that most people will check that box. I don't want to lose weight most of the time. Okay. Now, everybody's unique. We're going to be talking about this all the time, right? So we need to customize. However, we know from research that if we're coming, we're having a data-driven decision, that's better. Okay. So here we have Joanne, and she's 43. That's important. Mother of two. That's important concerning barriers, right? And also, she has gradually gained some weight, but she's going to the 25th high school reunion, and although she has some chronic issues over there like high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, family history, and BMI of 31, you know, she needs to lose 25 pounds in 2 months. Right, so we have this case here. And as you understand, all this information and a lot of information that we don't even know right now complicates that goal. Right? It's not only we need to figure out if she can do it and which factors could like she may come to us really excited and I want to do it. There are a lot of factors that may affect this potential success or failure. And we have here chronic issues. You have a good amount of weight to lose in 2 months, so we need to decide if that's healthy enough, right? And again, as I said, she's 43, she's female, she has 2 kids, and all this weight has been gained gradually, but now we want to lose it in 2 months. So complicated, right? Complicated. Now, some facts, some sad facts. Out of all these, I want to stick to the second one. Within 5 years, approximately 95% of people regain their weight just below baseline. So pretty much 95% of people, so pretty much everybody regain their weight. That's really sad. So we have an issue. It's not only, and it's not only like that they don't work out, they don't diet, they don't eat healthy. We have an issue with adherence. Because whatever they manage to accomplish, they lose it sooner or later. Okay. Let's see. Now here I'm going to explain some of those terms. Very important, but we have other classes that we're going to talk about those. So when we do some kind of research and we're trying to figure out if something is working or not, usually, not usually, but a research design that is very popular is have two groups. One we call the control group, and we do nothing to that. And then we'll have a treatment group that we change something, and then we're trying to see differences. And then we compare the mean, the control group to the mean of the treatment group. So then we can make a case that whatever difference we see between those two groups is because of the treatment. It can be a new drug, for example. All of them have cholesterol, we do nothing to those people, maybe we'll give them placebo, and the other people we give them the new statin, and we try to figure out what's going on. And assuming nothing else is different between the two groups, um, I'm trying to make a case that the new statin drug treatment accounts for most, if not all, the difference that we see in the means of the cholesterol levels of those two groups. Okay. Intervention is whatever we're doing. This is action taking or treatment program. So something that we do, we intervene, and then we usually make a measurement before we intervene and a measurement after we intervene. That's the simplest way to describe it. And then we try to see if there are differences uh, pre and post treatment or intervention. Okay. Man, I don't want to choose. Oh, just randomization. Randomization is important because it eliminates bias. Bias is everywhere, and it really affects the quality of the evidence and the inferences that we make based on those results. Now, what is randomization? Remember I talked about those two groups, the control and the treatment group. How do I place them? I place them randomly. I place them randomly, and that's the best way we have to prove that there was no secret agenda. We didn't put all the women together. So we group them randomly, and that is a great way to eliminate bias, which means to create the most similar groups we could create in a way that had nothing to do with us picking them to go to those groups. That's all for now. Theory. Why is theory important? Psychology, we talk about theories all the time. And so we like to be able to have a theory about everything, right? And we create a theory, and then we test the theory in that environment, in that age group, and that gender, and in different kind of conditions. And the more we prove that it can stand in different situations, environments, and settings, the more powerful that theory is. Who cares? Well, we care for several reasons, because if we know that a theory is legit, right? If A goes up, B will go up. Done. If that is true, then as you can see, we have replicability, sustainability, and generalizability. We are able to predict, which is awesome. So we know that if cholesterol is high, this may happen, right? And we're sure about this percentage. That's great if we have that theory. Okay, and theories, again, are awesome because we are able, they can help us predict. That's one of the main benefits. All right. Now we have interventions that are based on theory, because theory includes a lot of aggregated information, right? That's what theory is. And if we do those interventions based on some theory that we have tested and it's legit, then we may have better results in our intervention. This is what I'm trying to prove here. So here we have two groups of different people, 16 weeks of intervention for weight loss. You see baseline post-treatment and follow-up. The blue group, the blue line, that group was doing the same thing as the red group. So they had like a 2-day week of personal training, and The blue one had a weekly, 20-minute weekly meeting uh, based on the small changes theory that we're going to talk about in a little bit. You see that not only this didn't have a theory-based intervention. So these not only lost more weight, but they maintained it. Okay, so that proves the point that theory-driven interventions are more efficient. All right, let's talk about some theories. Hang in there. Follow my lead. We'll be fine. I'll try to explain everything, break it down as much as possible. TTM, trans-theoretical model. Very, very popular. This is not a new theory, that's an old theory, okay? Here we're going to talk about 5 stages. A lot of times you may see 6 stages down here. It doesn't matter right now. We're going to talk about these 5, okay? Pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Pre-contemplation is that state that somebody doesn't want to change, doesn't even consider changing. So it's your roommate sitting on the couch playing, I don't know, Fortnite 12 hours per day or 16 hours per day, and he or she's eating Cheetos, and you're like, bro, let's go out, let's walk a little bit, and they're like, get out of here, I don't care, I'm fine, you're not going to tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. So they don't even see the problem, they don't even consider any kind of changing, any kind of behavioral change. Contemplation, they start thinking about it, you kept trying to talk to them, educate them, blah, blah, blah. So they are in that stage of contemplation. The thing about it, they are like 6 months out before changing it, okay? Preparation now, they're 30 days out. So maybe they have gone to the gym, asked for prices, they gave them like an orientation tour. They may even have accepted like a free personal training session, but they haven't now started doing it. They're still playing Fortnite, eating Cheetos. The action now, they have changed. They have started changing their behavior. They're going to the gym, but they have only been doing it for less than 6 months. Above 6 months, they're in the maintenance. Maintenance is our goal, and that's when we kind of feel comfortable that the behavior has changed. We've done it enough for us to say that they dropped the old habit and they have changed their behavior. Okay? So these are the 5 stages. Now, who cares? Why do we even talk about that, right? So here, that is important because based on the stage of your client, you need to attack their behavior differently, okay? Excuse me, that's what I covered already. So if they are in the first 3 stages, okay, you're going towards more cognitive processes in order to make them change. If they're in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, right? So the 3rd one can be in the cognitive and the behavioral, but if they're in the last 3, you're talking more about behavioral process. What does that mean? So you see here the cognitive strategies, there are like 10 of them, 5 that are cognitive and 5 are behavioral. So you need to facilitate them, accommodate them, help them in a different way as a trainer. So if I am in the pre-contemplation or contemplation stage, you are trying to use rewards or reinforcement management would be useless because I'm not doing anything for you to reward me or to reinforce me. At the same time, if I was in the maintenance, you're trying to increase awareness is useless because I've been through that. I'm down here now. So that's how we use the TTM to identify where that person is based on those 5 different stages, and we pick the strategy that is best for them so we can help them change and maintain that behavior. Good? All right. Some cases that you can read by yourselves. Also, the TTM model has a pros and cons model that looks like this. The plus You can put a plus sign and write all the good things if you change your behavior in the minus, right? I need more time. I'll lose time from my kids. I need to go to the grocery store more often. I may, I don't know. I may use more money if I need to eat all that healthy food. I need to cook more. I need to wash more dishes. I don't know. But this, I want to, you see it is like more of a quantitative way to do it, like 5 against 4, 6 against 3. If you see it from a qualitative perspective, you may even write one thing on the con side, and that one thing may be enough to overturn the whole thing. But like that one thing is more important than the 6 things that I put on the class or pro side. Okay, but that's some kind of helpful because in general, when you write things down, it's not a bad idea. Kids, listen, and you can read all the examples. So what I hear you saying is that your stress and increasing your exercise is not a priority right now. So this is a way to reduce resistance. But as you can see, the third one, you need to acknowledge the resistance. Sounds like talking about increasing your steps is not something you want to do. You have doubts that this program will work for you. So we have some excellent examples, some excellent tips of how to avoid those arguments and reduce resistance. You can read the rest by yourself. I think they're helpful and useful. If we go back to Joanne, right? Now we can use the TTM model to see where she is. Where do you think she is? What do you think most people are when they come to you as a personal trainer? If you said pre-contemplation, that's right. Just before starting, right? Because here, sorry, I don't want to say it's preparation, not pre-contemplation. If you say preparation, that's fine because they're here and they're about to move into action. That they're here and they're asking for you to facilitate them to jump into the fourth one. Okay. All right. Second module for today. HBM, Health Belief Model. Now we're going to talk about perception, and perception is what I think there is out there. So perceived seriousness. So I go to the doctor says, if you don't quit smoking, you're going to die in 6 months. You think that's serious? Susceptibility to potential health consequences. You have a history of lung cancer in your family, first degree, father, mother, or something. And then they believe that making the suggested behavior change will actually result in decreased risk of consequences. Does it even matter if I stop smoking? Because my grandma, she wasn't smoking and she still got lung cancer. So that's the health belief model. Pretty successful, but also, except for those things that I talked about, the cost of changing behavior should be relevant and what the risk reduction it offers, okay? And now also we have some benefits and barriers. We're going to talk about them a little bit. More advanced or more recent version of the HBM is the BAM, because in this one we add the emotional state of the client. Okay, here we have what we just covered: the perceived susceptibility, perceived severity, perceived benefits, but also perceived barriers, cues to actions, and self-efficacy. TPB. Here, intention is huge, and if you have noticed, at the end of my video, I talked about, every time I close my videos, I talk about intention, and also at the end of my emails, I talk about intention. I do believe in intention a lot, right? Now, what does that say? That says that if we manage to create intention in our client, then it's pretty much sure that the client will change their behavior. Now, this depends on the attitude of the client towards the behavior, right? the subjective norm, and then the perceived behavioral control. Now, all these can change the intention, and all these interact with each other, but this one looks like it's a better predictor, and also this one can just go directly without the intention, go directly and change the behavior, the perceived behavioral control. So uh, the here the what we need to talk about is that the intent or the level of intent is shaped by the client's attitude towards the behavior, right? Which means how helpful or enjoyable is their behavior. And then the subjective norms that you see here, which is the social pressure to do something or not do something, like don't lift weights that makes women look manly, right? And then the perceived behavioral control that has to do, can I do it? Or can I control most of the variables in order to be successful or not? Okay. All right. We can increase intention, as you can see, through problem solving, goal setting, and then self-monitoring is huge. Now, I want to go to SCT, self-cognitive theory. All right, in this one, we have three factors. So, my personal factors affect my behavior, which comes back and affects my personal factors. I guess makes sense. The environmental factor, my personal factors, right? Or the environmental, let's start with this. The environmental factors will affect my personal factors, and my personal factors again will affect that. Of course, the environment will affect my behavior, and of course, my behavior will come back and change the environment. So now we have, these are the basis of the social cognitive theory. Those three players interact with each other. This one, I've got to mention, is a lot about thoughts and feelings. Okay, so here something happens and that makes me think this. Whatever I think affects my feelings, which then leads to whatever behavior, which then, of course, my behavior affects the situation, and then of a circular motion. That's why thoughts are very important. Okay, Kai Green, a very a popular bodybuilder, says thoughts become things. Okay, that's why a lot of times we need to block those negative thoughts, because then it affects our feelings in a negative way, which affects our behavior in a negative way, which then again comes back to that situation. We'll go into that, get into that negative pattern, and we want to just break and stop. So we need to identify the negative thoughts and block them. So then if we do that, we can affect our feelings, which affect our behavior. You can read that by yourself, but the idea is that the thoughts are very, very powerful. Excuse me. All right, goal setting theory. Goals are important. Why are goals important? Well, we'll see in sports psych, whenever you take that course, I don't know if you take it right now, that attention, where we focus our attention and how much of that energy, of that, how much of that attention is focused that way, pretty much is our motivation, right? So goals affect our motivation. Goals lead to greater effort. If you go to the gym and you have a very specific goal, most likely you'll have a better workout, you'll have higher performance than just going to the gym, but just wanna do well. But if you know that I deadlifted 500 pounds and today I want to deadlift 510, that's very specific. That's very helpful. That's very intentional. That you know where to focus, where to put your attention. You know where you're going. Okay. Extend the time and energy. Of course, I've discovered that, and increase the use of goal relevant skills. Of course. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. You can go to the gym like, I just want to have a cool workout. That's fine. But what would be better is to be more specific. Small changes model. Very new theory, pretty effective so far. And pretty much the basic idea is that small changes lead to better adherence and pretty much being more successful overall, right? Because it's more realistic if it's more attainable. And little by little by little by little, you pretty much um, do it at the very end, okay? So here, it says that um, when we're setting our goals, as you can see down here, we start with our baseline measurements, right? And it's small, and also the client selects the goal along with time. That's awesome. So in the beginning, as you can see, we have the motivation level, intention, demographic, and all this, but we do some kind of baseline behavior, which is how many steps do you take? Do you walk? How much do you walk right now? Okay, 5,000 steps. Great. Based on that, we do the goal setting, and then there is self-monitoring, which again empowers, based on this theory, the client. So here, if you do all this, you have less deprivation, higher self-efficacy, higher satisfaction, which comes back and keeps you in that behavior. So better adherence, right? Higher adherence, which of course leads you to the health, whatever health outcomes you want to achieve. And that's the small changes model. New theory, new model, but pretty successful. So what does SMALL stands for? Self-selected, measurable, action-oriented, linked to your life and long-term. All right, socio-ecological model. We're almost done, okay? I'll show you this, and I'll change it a little bit. I usually do that in class. I think it's more, it's easier to teach this way. So this is you. This is your family. This is Plattsburgh. This is New York. This is United States of America. Whatever goal you have, all these layers affect each other. And let's say if you're right here and you start dieting and you live with your family, will that affect how the rest of the family eats? I think so. I think so. Sooner or later, you know, more healthy stuff in the house, less unhealthy stuff. So maybe your sister starts dieting too, or eating healthy. So let me say that. Would it help you if your family support you in a way, and at this level right now, they just stop buying donuts and buying more carrots in the house? Yes, it can come this way now and affect you. And maybe if you don't have unhealthy food in the house, then you don't eat it because it's not there. So that will affect you starting eating healthier. Okay, let me go up here. And of course, if we all diet and this dieting, and then uh, more people in Plattsburgh and more people in New York, then all this would push all the way out towards the change in the policy. Okay, let me go the other way around. Let's say tomorrow the president of the United States says, "I'm going to ban." No, I'm going to put a tax. You know, unhealthy food, whatever that is, like I don't know, Cheetos again, and donuts and whatever. And there's not going to be any tax. You buy fruit or any kind of salads, vegetables. Will that affect New York? Will that affect Plattsburgh? Will that affect your family, the way your family eats? Will that affect you? Yes. So what I'm trying to say is that here, through this model, we see the different layers in our society all the way to the public policy level, in how we can affect each other and how all these levels interact with each other, whether we like it or not. This is an echo map. And here we have Craig. Craig is our client, and then we write down his friends and how they meet and how they know each other. And then we'll have a healthy, positive, negative relationship, strong, weak, and whatnot. And then by doing this ECMO, which is not easy to do, we can see the environment that Craig is in and which parts of that environment we should encourage more and which parts of the environment we should discourage. So we can help Craig understand what he should do and how we can facilitate him doing it towards whatever goal Greg has. Okay. Pretty much an overall of comparison of theories. You can read those by yourself. Now, when we trying to become a little bit more practical, self-monitoring is important, and that happens a lot on the watches. You can monitor the weight of your food using scales. You can, there's so many apps, right? Any kind of apps. And then we talk about this, let's talk about goal setting. SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, or action-oriented, realistic, and time-oriented. And that has to do with your LO. So make sure you read that part of our textbook and prove to me, give me a fitness goal that is SMART. Feedback is important. It has to do with 2 or more parties. And of course, it's necessary. It affects, because you can adjust and evaluate what you're doing and make the necessary adjustments. All theories are great. However, we need to understand that we need to customize. Everybody is different. Yes, I mean, we have the basic idea of what we need to do, but every person is different. So it doesn't mean that the same theory will affect me the same way it affects you, okay? Rapport is great. It's that, as you can see, sense of trust, respect, and confidence is really hard to create. It takes time, but it is important because, as you can see, how you can do that. You can display your credentials, dressing professionally, highlight things in common, affirm and client sense, and so on. Like, there are a lot of things that you can do. Share your own struggles and stories from the past, like I couldn't lose weight. Your client, wants to lose weight and they have failed again and again. That creates a connection, right? And it is important because if you have that connection, then they trust you. They trust you. They feel you're on the same team. If you feel you're on the same team, whatever you're trying to tell them, it doesn't come through as criticism. It comes as this facilitation. I'm the facilitating expert, and I'm here to help you. And let's go. We're on the same team. We use we a lot, right? Not just you, the client. That's what I just said. And these are the take-home points from this chapter. There are many different theories of behavior change, each with its own unique strengths and weaknesses. Although there is some overlap across theories, each represents a unique foundation and combination of principles and components. And the last one, although research exists to support various theories, it is up to you, the personal trainer, to decide which principles or components to apply with each individual client based on his or her unique needs and situational factors. So I just stopped sharing this and I'm going to go really quickly to chapter 8. Share my screen. There we go. And there we go. All right, so we talked about all these theories, and all these theories were mainly there, to make them start changing those bad habits. Adherence, though, is really important. Whether we like it or not, adherence is really important, and it will play a role if you choose to become a personal trainer. Okay, so starting is one thing. Maintaining a habit is a completely different beast that you have to attack. All right. Now, so maintenance, of course, well, you bring them to maintenance. And one thing I forgot to say, and really can come here, and I can mention right here, is people, remember the TTM model with the 5 stages. If you reach the last stage, which is the maintenance stage, doesn't mean you stay there forever. Christmas happens, boom. Something, you break your leg, boom. You move back and forth all the time. So if you manage to have somebody in the maintenance level, you try to keep them there forever, if possible. So adherence is really, really important. And as you can see in the second dot, 50% of the people who start an exercise program will drop within the first 6 months. And I want you to think now, side note, why health clubs and gyms are trying to push you to sign up for annual contracts. Because maybe they know that statistically speaking, we're not going to go for the whole thing. So it looks like a great price, but you're not going to use it anyway. So that's one of the main reasons of why they're asking us to do things like that, go for the annual contracts. Some factors that affect adherence. Self-efficacy is important. I want you to remember that. Motivation is important. We're going to talk about this, self-worth, and definitely we're going to talk about perceived barriers. Right, self-efficacy. For self-efficacy is important. It's a term that we're going to be using in sport exercise psychology a lot as well. As you can see, one of the most consistent predictors of exercise adherence. What is self-efficacy? Is pretty much situational self-confidence. So do I think that right now this specific thing that we're talking about, can I do it? How confident I am that I can do it or not, right? And we know that the higher the self-efficacy, the higher the adherence. Motivation is important. There's a continuum of motivation. This is not the class to talk about it, but usually, what we do say is that intrinsic motivation is better than extrinsic motivation. And we're trying to make people internalize the intrinsic motivation and be more intrinsically motivated. And one way to do it, based on the self-determination theory, is to satisfy those three needs, which is autonomy, to give you freedom to choose, right? Relatedness, you can relate to the activity or to the people who are doing already the activity. And competence, you feel that you can do it. If those are satisfied, those psychological needs, there's a higher probability, you're intrinsically motivated, which is what we're looking for. Self-worth refers to the satisfaction individuals have with themselves. That's really important. Of course, the higher the self-worth, the higher the exercise adherence. And as you can see in the third dot, there's a reciprocal relationship, right? What does that mean? That self-worth will affect self-efficacy, self-efficacy will affect self-worth. We both want them to be high. So, we need to know that there's a reciprocal relationship and we need to take advantage of that. A lot of benefits of exercise, but at the same time, we'll have barriers. We need to know those barriers because those are one of the most important factors that stop people. Those are the factors that attack adherence, right? And they can be personal, they can be social, and they can be environmental. What are personal barriers? I don't have time. I'm injured. If I know that, I may have a solution for them. Social barriers, right? I have a kid, it's a baby. Can't find a babysitter. Maybe I have a solution. I don't know. Maybe I'm like, you have a friend who has a baby. Like, yeah, I do. Okay, can she babysit for you today so you can come to the gym and you can do the same for her tomorrow? I don't know, something, right? Environmental barriers, bad weather. What can you do? Okay, buy 2 bands, and if it's like this, you can stay in the house, and this is what you can do at the house. If it's like Plattsburgh and 3 feet of snow and you can't get outside of your house for whatever reason. These are barriers, and these are some strategies to help them overcome those barriers. The most classic one, the most common one, the most frequent one is lack of time. But if you actually talk to them a lot of times, is it really? This is case study 8.1. That's one of the 2 case studies that you have to choose just one and answer. Give me some answers, specific answers to the questions for consideration. How can we increase exercise adherence? Through exercise self-regulation. Help them. Sometimes they need help to schedule. They need help for backup plans. If this happens, okay, we'll do this. Okay, why don't you do this today, just in case so tomorrow you have an off day for sure, we can do that. It is important to help them sometimes with self-regulation, okay? uh, I don't know, just at night, put outside the clothes, and when you wake up, just find them there and just put them on and just come to the gym. This may be something very important for somebody. Simple, but you as a personal trainer have to propose it so you can attack a potential barrier in there. Lapse and relapse. What's worse? Relapse is worse. One way to attack this issue is to discuss about it before it happens. It will happen. People will stop for a little bit. You just don't want them to just, completely return to whatever behavior and habit they had before. But for example, as a personal trainer, a lot of times I'm still doing it, right? I'm still doing it. I know Christmas is coming. I know you're gonna have some days off. It's fine. We are planning that lapse. We are. Like, okay, go home, enjoy for that week. When you come back, boom, let's hit it. We need to start the next day. Or I know you're going to that wedding or birthday party. Fine, you're gonna eat a lot of cake. Good. We know it. So if we know it, maybe we eat less whatever that day is since you're going to dinner or whatever, or maybe the next day we're planning accordingly. So if you know, it's great if you can actually plan the lapse so you can avoid the relapse, right? And things will happen, and people need to know from the beginning it's fine. We're all human. We're all humans. Let's see what we can do now after. Yeah. We talked about goal setting. It's very important. You have to do short-term and long-term goals, of course. Just one of them won't really work. Monitor behavior, track everything if you can. There are apps that can take pictures and send them to you, so you can track them. There are skills, as you can see, pedometers, a ton of things that you can do. Workout logs, awesome. They're really nice books that you can just write every time what you're doing. It's really helpful for some people. And now let's talk about social support. Let's talk about social support, which is really important. And again, it's a consistent predictor of exercise participation, right? And it can have there's four types, at least the types that we're going to talk about today concerning social support. So we'll have emotional, tangible, informational, and appraisal. So emotional is a friend is calling that you're starting a 75-day challenge, whatever, and they're just checking on you, provide you emotional support, right? Tangible. I go and buy you groceries for whatever you're doing. The spouse is going. Or they actually make that food for you. That's really helpful, right? Information. I'll give you information. I'll send you flyers. I'll send you links about something that you want to know. I help you that way. And then appraisal, the colleagues at work see you and they praise your hard work and the results that they can see already, the changes. So all these are important. What you need to understand as a personal training is that not all people need all four and not all people value all four equally. So when you come here, right, when you come here, you need to identify what's more important for your client and do whatever they need to do. And also make them understand that they need to be able to ask for whatever they need and create that supportive environment for them. Uh, of course, you will help them as the expert, but they need to be able to go out and ask for this power, like, this is what I need. Could you please help me? Again, we're going back to self-determination theory. Autonomy related to others and competence are really important psychological needs that need to be satisfied. That's what I covered already. That's the other case study. Again, there's questions for consideration. Be very specific in your answers. Then there's some, I don't know if you can call them innovative or new anymore, but web-based interactive tools, websites, e-coaching is something that is very popular, of course. Yeah. And then some other ways to increase adherence, trying to figure out ways to attack possible barriers. So if you increase active commuting, boom, you find a solution, right? ways of them to exercise outdoors at the park. Boom. Maybe you find a solution to have the baby with them and find a way to help them exercise without them needing to pay a babysitter. All right, take home points, and we're done for this week as well. Adhering to exercise is a difficult process, and clients will need the personal trainer's help developing the skills necessary to be successful with exercise. In this chapter, 3 theory-based concepts that are strongly related to exercise adherence were discussed: self-efficacy, motivation for exercise, and self-worth. Through identifying the benefits of and barriers to exercise, clients can be taught how to overcome their barriers. Personal trainers are encouraged to assess the needs of each client to determine what strategies will most effectively help each client successfully adhere to exercise. All right, guys, office hours tomorrow. Synchronous meeting Wednesday at 11. In the meantime, lift intentionally, not habitually. See you guys.